Morning everybody, welcome to another edition of the 3M's Monday Morning Motivation. We've got an extra special episode for you. We've got a celebrity in the house. We've got Kevin, the winner of ITV's The Biggest Loser. Thanks for joining me, Kev.
Thanks for having us.
Obviously everybody wants to know your story.
Well, Biggest Loser for me started just about a year ago. I'm sitting here filming this with you now. A year ago today, I was actually sitting at home filming some part of the first episode of Biggest Loser. It was a 24-week process. I started weighing 450 pounds, and when I finished, I weighed 270 pounds, which is a 180 pound loss in 24 weeks.
Cool.
£7.5 a week.
Mm-hmm.
I won the programme. My niece came second, and since then things have gone a bit crazy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, with various different things that are going on, and my life from a year ago to now is just completely different to what it was. Like, it couldn't be more different.
Mm-hmm.
It's like being a different person.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, just loads of great things have been happening as a result of taking action. Basically, is what it was about.
Yeah.
It was just about for me. I took responsibility for where I was at, made a commitment, and took action towards what I wanted to do, and that's how I've ended up where I am today.
That's great. So, what initially caused you to make the change in your life? Because it's obviously you've made one change. You just thought yourself, you've set a goal, you've done it, and your life's changed dramatically. What initially gave you the sort of motivation, the kick to just make that change?
Obviously, when I was 450 pounds, I was aware I needed to lose weight. It's not like a bloke who's got a few pounds to lose.
What's that in stone for those?
450 pounds is 32 stone, 2 pounds.
32 stone.
I was aware that I had to lose weight. I'd had a lot of problems in my business that I'd eventually got to put behind us, and there I was, right, well, what am I going to do? And I saw that Tony Robbins was doing a keynote. He wasn't actually doing his full weekend, just a keynote at an event called the National Achievers Congress.
That's the motivational speaker.
Tony Robbins, yeah, in London last July. So I booked tickets for me and Joanne to go and see him speak. Now, I'd seen Tony fixing people on the internet. I'd seen it, and I thought, right, I'm going to go to that, and Tony Robbins is going to fix me. He's got my answer. He's got my solution.
Right.
And I'll go away from there fixed, and next thing you know, I'll be slim. So I went, and he was brilliant. For anybody who doesn't know Tony Robbins, his performances, which is what it is massively energetic.
Mm-hmm.
Really pushes you out of your comfort zone. You're hugging the person next to you, you're hugging strangers, you're high-fiving people, telling them how awesome they are, and all this sort of stuff. Now, we only did about four and a half hours. But the one thing that I really took from it was when he said, turn to the person to your left and tell that person what you're going to do to change your life in the next 90 days. Now, here I was thinking, well, hang on, I paid a few £100 to be here, Tony. You're supposed to be changing my life, not me.
Uh-huh.
But anyway, I was thinking, what can I do in 90 days to change my life? It was then that I sort of realised, it was also sort of a bit of an epiphany, I suppose. It was my responsibility to change.
Mm-hmm.
It was my responsibility for where I was. I'd let my partner down. All the failings in my life were my responsibility. And so I turned to Joanne, my partner, who was sat next to us, to my left, and I said, in the next 90 days, I'm going to lose 90 pounds. Now, that's, a pound a day, £7 a week. It's a big, big number.
Mm-hmm.
But I was confident I could do that. At 32 stone, I should be able to lose quite a lot quite quickly, I thought.
Mm-hmm.
So the weekend went on, there was other speakers on. It was a great weekend. We got home and I was full of enthusiasm about what I was going to do to, do this £90 in 90 days. Joanne at the time had said, yeah, I know you can do it. She got a bit teary. It was in this room, massive big room of 8,500 people. And Joanne had said, yeah, I know you can do it. It was great. It was quite an intimate moment.
Mm-hmm.
It was almost like a bit like this, but just two people. But in actual fact, there was 8,500 people there. And so I got home and I got on the internet looking for my solution because I'd done everything else. And I now realised these things hadn't failed me, I'd failed at them, Weight Watchers and Slimming World and all these other different diet systems and exercise regimes and whatever else. And I stumbled upon, quite by accident, the application form for The Biggest Loser.
Right.
So I got the application form filled out along with my niece, Amy. And even that took us a little while because I had in my ear, from myself, my self-talk was, oh, it'll be hard, you'll be exposing yourself to a lot of people saying nasty things about you on the internet and blah, 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 blah. But, I quietened them voices down in my head and just got on with it and got the application form submitted. And within an hour, I got a phone call back inviting us to go to Glasgow for an audition 2 days after that.
Right.
So off we went to Glasgow, and there was an audition process that we went through where there was an audition in Glasgow, then another one in London, which was also included in the one in London was a physical medical, and then also a psychological assessment and various other different blood tests and all sorts of things like that. And then a couple of weeks after that, I got the call to say, yep, you're in. What are you joining when The Biggest Loser House, which was like phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
But if I can just take it back to when I found the application form, that was another sort of light bulb moment where I was like, right, this is it, this is my solution. I wasn't like, oh, I'm going to give this a go and this might be worth a try.
Mm-hmm. I
went, I'm going to win this. And I shouted through to Joanne, they're looking for someone for Biggest Loser, and she came running through and looked at it and went, oh, you're going to win.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, yeah, that's how I felt. That's not me being arrogant or cocky or anything like that. Mm-hmm. That's me just saying, this is it, this is what I was meant to do, this is my solution.
Yeah.
And so when I got these phone calls inviting us to interviews and auditions and everything, it was really exciting. But then after the initial excitement died down, I was like, right, yeah, that was just another step in the process.
Mm-hmm.
It just became a plan of action of step by step. And from filling an application form in, all I had in mind was that, I was going to win.
Mm-hmm.
And everything else just became a process. Now, to win, the reason why I was wanting to win was because I knew that in the past, the winners are the ones, obviously, who lose the most, and the winners are the ones who keep it off.
Yes. Based
upon just what I'd seen on the internet myself. And so I thought, right, to win, I'm going to have to lose near enough 13 stone.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, that's a massive amount of weight to lose.
Yeah.
And even then, at times, I thought, God, that's a big ask.
Mm-hmm.
And when we did more auditions, I was asked, do you think you can win? I said, yeah. I said, I'm going to win, and Amy's going to come second. And Amy laughed at the time and said, well, actually, I'm going to win, and he's going to come second. But I knew what was going on.
Yeah.
And then they said, how much weight do you think you can lose? I said, at the final, I'll be between 19 stone 2 and 19 stone 5. And I was 19 stone 4.
Excellent.
I often joke about that and say I wish I'd said 15 stone because maybe maybe that would have been the number I got, but I think I did I did quite well anyway.
That's fantastic.
And I never actually lost the 90 pounds in 90 days. I often get asked that question: did you lose the 90 pounds in 90 days? And I didn't, because what actually happened was once I was accepted at The Biggest Loser, I said don't lose any weight, because you can imagine they have people at different weights and they want to keep the balance right. So they didn't want me going in there 4 stone lighter. So I went in there at 32 stone 2 pounds, which is 450 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
The heaviest person ever in the UK to compete in the competition. And I lost 56 pounds within me 90 days. The 90 days from July the 1st, I'd lost 56 pounds by then. Mm-hmm. But I was in The Biggest Loser house for 8 weeks and I lost 93 pounds in that 8 weeks. Yeah. And I lost the rest at home in 16 weeks. That's fantastic. Giving us 180 pounds in 24 weeks altogether.
So you created a mindset, not just of I'm going to lose some weight, I'm going to give this a go, but you said to yourself, I'm going to win this. I'm not just going to go for the ride and do what I can.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to do this come hell or high water, I'm going to win.
Mm-hmm.
That was its all mindset.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
80% of what I did was, probably even 100% of what I did was in my head.
Yeah.
And I think that's maybe what separated me from a lot of people who'd applied for the show, possibly, I don't know. Maybe a lot of people had applied and said, oh, I'm going to give it a go and I'll see what happens, and maybe I'll get in, maybe I won't get in, maybe I might do well, I might not, I'll give it a go. Mm-hmm. That wasn't me. It was like, as far as I was concerned, it was a foregone conclusion, and all I had to do was make it happen, mm-hmm. not let anything get in my way. There was things got in my way. For example, the first time I met all the other contestants, I was like, oh, hang on, there's other people here. It was a bit like, oh wow, okay.
Uh-huh.
There was a lot of big personalities, and I was like, all right, okay, well, I'll deal with that.
Yeah.
Those groups set up within the house, and at one point I wasn't involved with anybody, and all these different things were going on, and all the living with people who I'd never met before, and all these different things going on.
Mm-hmm.
I could have easily have got us stumbling and losing track, but I didn't. I just stayed focused on what I wanted.
Yeah.
And what I wanted was to win. The prize is nice, and the plaudits and the profile that comes from it, but my main thing was because it was going to massively change my life, and I knew as well that by doing that, by winning, and also doing really well at the competition, I would then be able to share my message and share my story. Because beforehand, I talked about Tony Robbins before. I watched people like Tony Robbins, thought I could do that. Mm-hmm. I could do that. I've got a voice. I can do that. But I didn't have a message, and no one was going to take it seriously. Yeah. Where I was, I hadn't really. Basically, what I'd done, I'd had a failed business, and I'd put loads of weight on. So I had to have a story, and Biggest Loser has given us that as well, and also a message where I'm saying, if I can do it, if that bloke who was 32 stone 2 pounds, who would be out of breath just walking to the local shop, who was in such a bad state of health, could do what I did, then I believe most people can do what they need to do as well, regardless of what it is, whether it's weight loss or even not related to health and fitness. I really believe that people can make the change that they need to make by committing to it, setting their intention. Goal/intention. I like to say intention because it's better than goal. A goal is sort of like, sometimes I think, something in the future, whereas an intention is something that is definitely going to happen, and you sort of say when it's going to happen by, and then taking action towards that.
Yeah, I mean it's a prime example of mind over matter, like you said, because there's a lot of people who are overweight or unfit who could say, I could never do that, I can barely run to the shops or walk to the shops. You've just proved that no matter how big you are, or how unfit you are, you can always put your mind to something and achieve it.
Yeah.
It's not about physical capacity.
No.
That's got basically nothing to do with it.
No.
It's everything in your head.
Yeah.
All the time.
Yeah.
And that's absolutely fantastic. So since coming out of the Biggest Loser house, obviously you lost the weight. How did you keep motivated after that to keep losing the weight?
I think a lot of people will use weight loss as because that's sort of like my specialty. We'll use that. A lot of people go into a weight loss project, program, whatever you want to call it, with an attitude of, I want to give it a go. I want to try and lose weight. And that was me. I want to get to the gym, and I might, and I'll see how I get on and ease into it, and I'll try. All these words, I'll try, and I'm going to, and it's just about saying, right, I am losing weight. I am going to be slim. Even to the point where you feel it, visualize it and feel it. I did that myself. I used a lot of visualization, both when I was in the Biggest Loser house for 8 weeks, and then I was at home training for 16 weeks as part of the program. I did a lot of visualization, and that kept us focused. So much to the point that at one point I'd visualized as winning the program, to the point that I could smell the fireworks going off and all that sort of stuff. That actually got emotional. I was in the gym on an exercise bike. Maybe it was partly too. I think it was my third workout of the day. I was wiped out, but I got emotional thinking about the winning, and the feeling I got then was actually better than the feeling that I got when I did win. Yeah. The feeling when I did win was more like a sense of relief, more like a, God, that's good news. God,
but in your head you knew that
because that's what it was. It would just become a process. And when I did win, it was like, God, yes, excellent. That was what was meant to happen. So what I would say for people at home wanting to keep motivated, they need to know why. A lot of people will have superficial reasons, like, I want to be able to get into a size 10 dress, or I want a size 32 jeans, or whatever. And that's great, and that's a really good thing to keep you motivated, I think, for a short period of time. So if you've only got a little way to go, that's great. You want to be in your little black dress or for Christmas, or your sexy red dress for your holidays, or whatever, your bikini diets and all that sort of stuff, great. Whatever. But if it's a long-term project, you really need a really strong why. And I often think if people anchor themselves to things like the kids, if they've got them, or the family, the parents, if they've got a good relationship with the parents or the partner, you're doing it not necessarily for them, but with them in mind. You don't want to let them down. So you must. And that's what kept me motivated.
Yeah. So you must be a firm believer in not so much, you're never on a diet, you're living a lifestyle.
Oh yeah. Diets. I use the word diet myself because the word diet means the stuff that you eat. And being on a diet and off a diet, it's just about changing your lifestyle and being just. You don't have to be 100% all of the time with it, with the way you're eating. So it's like I'm on my diet Monday to Friday. I'm off my diet Saturdays and Sundays is something I often hear. Well, it's not. You just have a healthy eating plan and keep the balance. And if you have a little blowout on a Saturday night or on a Sunday night or whatever you do, that's fine. But you don't go off your diet and on your diet.
Mm-hmm.
You just change your lifestyle and have a blowout now and again if you want to. But as long as that doesn't come too often, and as long as it's quite controlled as well, people have got to realise you've got to control food. If you've got a lot of people will be listening to this thing, well, I've not had a problem with eating, but most of the people they've got a bad relationship with food, and that's why they are the way they are.
Yeah.
I'll always have to be mindful of what I'm doing. For example, I'm going on holiday in October. Well, actually, I'm going on honeymoon, and I have to be aware that when I'm there, that I don't go mental with food. I don't go crazy and just eat loads just because I'm on holiday, because of how it makes us feel. Like at the time, and how it'll make us feel later when I get weighed and I've put a load of weight on, or my clothes are getting a bit tighter. Mm-hmm. It's just constantly being aware of your sort of relationship with food, and then just having a lifestyle, like you say, just a steady lifestyle of plenty of exercise and just watching what you're eating.
Right, I think we're going to wrap it up, Kev. I'd say thanks very much for joining us. I realise you have brought your jeans in.
Yes,
which are the jeans that you wore when you were 32 stone.
Yes.
Just the difference in size, he's practically shrunk to half the size. I think we could get 2 Kevs in there, couldn't we? One on each leg.
Probably.
So what size waist is that?
This is a size 60.
60 waist.
I bought these especially for me first Biggest Loser audition.
Right.
And when you're this size, you just got to go into a shop and look for something that fits rather than something that you like. As it happens, they're all right. Like they're pretty similar to the jeans I've got on now, but these actually didn't fit. If you look, the button popped off because they weren't tiny, but they were a bit tight.
Right.
So it was actually probably a 62 or a 64 inch waist, really. But these were just all I could get at the time that were in stock in the shop.
You could practically go to sleep in them, I think.
Yeah. I've been in here with one other person before. Joanne's been in here, my partner's been in here, and one of my trainers has been in here with us as well.
Yeah. That's fantastic. It's such a transformation, such an inspiration, mate. I take my hat off to you, I do.
Thanks very much for having us here. Thanks.
No problem. Okay, wrapping it up now. I thank everybody for watching. This has been the final episode of the 3M's for Season 1. Season 2 will be returning in the new year. Bigger, better, more epic. I will see you all in January. I'll keep you posted. Peace out.